केसरिया से मन जोगी हुआ रे दिल झूमे देखो मतवारा हुआ रे केसरिया से मन जोगी हुआ
हर पल मनाओ केसरी त्योहार। विमल बोलो जुबान केसरी।
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. For days now, a debate has been gathering speed, not just in political circles, but at every petrol pump across the country. This isn't about fuel prices, it's about what's inside your fuel. E20, E85, ethanol blending, these are no longer technical terms. They are questions every petrol vehicle owner is asking. What's going into my tank? What is it doing to my engine? And if my fuel is only 80% petrol, why am I paying 100% of the price? Social media has been flooded with claims of lower mileage, engine damage, and higher maintenance costs, especially for older vehicles. Then came reports suggesting India could soon move to E25, fueling even more anxiety. Amidst a rising backlash, the government is pushing back. It says these reports are misrepresentation and misinterpretation, that E20 has been in use for a while and does not cause any major issue with engines or quality of cars. There are no E25 rollout plans in the picture at any near future point, and any future move will happen only after scientific testing and stakeholder consultation.
Which is somebody suggesting that हम जल्दी से E25 डाल रहे, we have made it clear we are doing tests. Those tests will take time. Once the reports of those tests are in, we will evaluate those. Then we will talk to the stakeholders. We will talk to the automobile manufacturers, because I neither make the cars nor the fuel. The car manufacturers are comfortable with E20. Each one of them has made a statement. The consumer loves the petrol. We have got a rollout only of E85, and that E85 will take a little bit of time because new petrol pumps and all will come in.
India's auto industry too is stepping on the accelerator to defend the ethanol program. Automakers and industry experts insist the blended fuel has been subjected to rigorous scientific testing and is safe, not just for newer vehicles, but even for vehicles manufactured before 2023. They say extensive testing on E10 vehicles running on E20 found no issues with wear and tear of the engine, corrosion, or engine life. They say ethanol is cleaner, high-performing fuel, and that it strengthens India's energy security by reducing dependence on imported crude while also boosting farmer income.
We've had at least 15 years, more than 15 years, where we've had E10 in the market. And if you use E20 fuel on these E10 cars, we have tested it internally. There is a separate test by ARAI. The past 15 years from our entire service network, and we have not found anything of concern.
There have been diversification in the sources to produce its ethanol, which has led to the reduction of crude import. And if you have seen West Asia crisis, which we overcame, some part of the vulnerability was reduced by reduction of crude import equivalent to the 20% gasoline, which was made available to all the customers across the country.
In an era when we are facing the issue of climate change and are looking at rapidly decarbonizing, this is a zero carbon fuel because it's derived from plants.
The industry wants consumers to not let rumors drive the narrative, but the opposition is on collision course. Aam Aadmi Party chief Arvind Kejriwal, who also happens to be an IIT-trained mechanical engineer, wants written guarantees that E20 will not damage engines, will not reduce mileage beyond 10%, and that customers will be compensated if either happens. He's also written to the Prime Minister demanding that motorists be given a choice between E0, E10 and E20 fuels instead of a one-size-fits-all policy.
केंद्र सरकार ने 6 ऑटो मैन्युफैक्चरिंग कंपनियों को बुलाया और बोला तुम प्रेस कॉन्फ्रेंस करके जनता को कहो भाई E20 ठीक है। इन कंपनियों ने झूठ बोला। इन तीनों कंपनियों ने मारुति सुजुकी, टोयोटा किर्लोस्कर और हीरो मोटरकॉर्प। टोयोटा का ओनर मैनुअल कहता है टोयोटा अलाउज यूज ऑफ इथेनॉल ब्लेंडेड गैसोलीन वेयर इथेनॉल कंटेंट इज अप टू 10%, मतलब वो कह रहा है कि 10% तक इथेनॉल होना चाहिए। और उसमें नीचे नोट में लिखा है इफ यू आर नॉट सेटिस्फाइड ड्राइवेबिलिटी और फ्यूल इकोनॉमी ऑफ योर व्हीकल when you use gasoline alcohol blend, you should switch back to unleaded gasoline containing no alcohol.
In opposition's offensive, government sources see a coordinated misinformation campaign backed by foreign lobbies that are attempting to derail India's energy security push. They say it is a campaign to sabotage India's self-reliance story, but the Congress has its own conspiracy theory.
It is no longer an experiment. This is being done on a commercial scale, and it's being done at the behest, at the instance and the benefit of one senior union minister.
Amidst debate over both impact and imposition, a petition has now been filed in the Supreme Court claiming an element of silent compulsion in the E20 petrol rollout. But the BJP is refusing to cede ground. It says the ethanol mission is an imperative and in the interest of all stakeholders.
Ethanol-blended petrol is in the interest of the Indian middle class, it is in the interest of the Indian farmers, it is in the interest of India's strategic autonomy. It will reduce India's import bill by 1,90,000 crore. In the last 3 years, every year more than 20 crore two-wheelers and more than 20 lakh four-wheelers are already running on ethanol-blended petrol. The truth of the matter is that ethanol-blended petrol has increased the per ton price that the maize farmer gets from 1,200 rupees to 2,400 rupees. Do not get into the fake news of the Congress ecosystem, some individuals.
So what's really fueling this debate? Are these genuine red flags or are facts being adulterated with fear? Because here's the twist. The ethanol story didn't begin with the NDA Sarkar. It began under the UPA. In 2009, the Manmohan Singh government unveiled the national policy on biofuels, setting an ambitious target of 20% ethanol blending, a target the Modi government is now aiming to achieve. So if policy isn't new, what is? Has the science changed or has the politics? Listen in to what the then Petroleum Minister Mani Shankar Iyer had to say.
हमने वो वार्तालाप शुरू की इंडियन शुगर मिल्स एसोसिएशन के साथ जिसका इन लोगों ने नहीं किया था, एनडीए ने उनकी उपेक्षा की थी। मैं सदन को आश्वासन दे सकता हूं कि हमारी सरकार काम करेगी और हमने आश्वस्त कर दिया है एथेनॉल का ब्लेंडिंग होगा पेट्रोल के साथ।
And that, ladies and gentlemen, brings me to the legitimate question on the Newshour tonight. Is the government's ethanol policy taking consumers for a ride, or is the criticism blended with lots and lots of politics? That's the question, and that's the debate coming up on the other side.
You're watching Newshour at 9, debate number 1 on Times Now, Super Prime Time.
Joining the debate tonight, Shehzad Poonawala, national spokesperson of the BJP, Hormaz Sorabji, editor Autocar, Sohail Seth, columnist, marketing guru. Also joining the debate, advocate Anmol Pawar, national spokesperson of the Aam Aadmi Party. But my first question goes to Tehseen Poonawala, Congress supporter and also a litigant in this matter. What is really troubling you, Tehseen Poonawala, as far as ethanol is concerned? It's a promise made by the Congress government in 2005. Manishankar Iyer, well, maybe out of favor today in the Congress, but made a promise as the petroleum minister of UPA Sarkar. Why are you having a problem today?
Good evening, Navika. Thank you so much for having me on the show. Grateful that we can point across two very things. Number one, none of us are against the ethanol blending policy. And none of us are funded by any oil lobby. Since my protest had massive crowd, Times Now was there. I'm ready for any investigation and a public lie detector test. We don't know anyone. But here's the question that we want to say very humbly. We are not against the ethanol blending policy. What we are against is the mandatory ethanol-20 blended fuel that is being put upon us. We want choice of ethanol zero at reasonable rates. Right now it's about 167, 170 and not available at all petrol pumps, ethanol 10 and ethanol 20. Number two, we want all documents regarding the ethanol 20 public policy in public domain. It cannot be hidden from we the people of India. It cannot be kept away. For example, the AM report, the ARAI report, etc. Third, so we want a solution for all vehicles pre-2023 which are facing a problem. It is not word of mouth that trust me bro, nothing is happening. The industry leaders are misleading us. It is not how it is go. Their own instruction manuals say that it is not allowed. And we want a proper solution. And fourth, we don't want any further rollout of further ethanol blended petrol, which is 25-30, which the government conceded, without a 360-degree infrastructure. One last line. What we see today is unethical and immoral. I'm not saying it's corrupt. The Beta Badao Yojana, where kids of ministers are involved in ethanol distilleries, is conflict of interest. We are absolutely against it. But that is not just one political party, that's all. But we are against it, and we are against that as well.
So you are saying E20 or ethanol blending is not something that worries you. Engines getting spoiled is a rumor. Are you saying that?
No, I am saying there are genuine concerns for the two-wheelers prior to 2023. Hardeep Puri ji is talking about four-wheelers. Majority of these are two-wheelers. People see buying a vehicle is the second most expensive asset you'll buy. You take a loan to buy it. It's a very expensive asset and people are having difficulty. Even an average drop is a difficulty for people. You trust it. So please don't talk to us arrogantly. Talk to us as citizens.
Nobody's talking to you arrogantly, Tehseen Poonawala. You went for an onion price protest wearing a Rolex. Who can talk to you arrogantly? Horma Saurabh, I want to come to the first question here because you're the auto expert. I want to ask you, is E20 or the ethanol blended fuel which has 20% ethanol, is it bad for car engines, new or old? Is it bad for two-wheelers, new or old?
So firstly, let's start with the E20 cars. Obviously, they've been designed for E20, so no issue over there, but you do have a drop in fuel efficiency. You start going to let's say BS4 cars before BS6, fuel efficiency drop is more. We've done some tests, can go up to 10, 12%. So definitely there is a fuel efficiency drop. Now, can there be a technical problem? Potentially, yes. That's what it says. Now, what we need to understand is the extent of the problem. I'll tell you one thing which I don't agree with, that engines are imploding, they're going to, just blow up. It doesn't work like that. Yes. Just remember that ethanol is limited to the fuel delivery system. Correct. Now, we've done some analysis taking some worst case situations, and you can decide whether that's expensive or not expensive. You take, let's say, a 2018, 2019 Maruti Swift or Desire running on E20. If you have to, you take even a fuel pump failure, which is not guaranteed. But let's take it, it happens. You have to replace all the hoses and all that. In our estimate, the cost over about, 8 to 10 year period is about 25,000 rupees over and above. You take a higher, let's say you take a GDI engine, which is a turbo petrol where you have a high pressure fuel pump, more expensive, that can also fail. That itself is about 40,000 rupees. And then you've got also, let's say, about 60 to 70,000 rupees for the more expensive. This is really, what we're looking at. Now, again, the thing about ethanol is that it punishes bad practices, punishes neglect. You don't maintain your car, you can have problems with ethanol fuel. It can dislodge some of the sludge, which can get caught in your injectors and then cause problems over there. At the fuel pump, it says as well, you have to have proper quality checks because it kind of attracts water. So, it's kind of putting pressure on making sure that these practices are met. Now, Obviously, a car designed for E10, no one's going to say you should put E20, but there's a difference between what it was designed for and what it can do. I just want to, just give you one kind of, to give you perspective, Apollo 13, I don't know if you know, but it was one of the greatest rescue missions ever, where the lunar module was designed to land people on the moon. And they asked Grumman, the makers, can you make it a lifeboat and bring it back? He said it wasn't designed to do that. NASA told them, we don't care what it's designed for, we're just worried about what it can do. So the point is there's a lot of buffer put into these systems right now. So, you can't, though a car is designed for E10, that doesn't mean it will necessarily implode on E20. Now, again, it's a very complex issue. Some manufacturers like Honda said we're E20 compliant from 2009. So it really depends on the materials used. So yes, you can go from technically actually no problem if you maintain your car really well. Not many people do that. To problems which are limited to the fuel delivery system, and you have to change fuel pumps and stuff like that, and then your cost goes up. But to take Tessim's point, a bigger worry, of course, are the two-wheelers which are carbureted. Yes. Again, it requires more maintenance over there because you don't have, electronic fuel injection systems which can adjust the air-fuel ratio. So there are more complex issues over there. Now, if you ask me, I think E20, not ideal, but we've managed it going beyond E20. I agree, we should not go beyond E20 as a base.
Which the government has also said they are not going beyond E20 for the moment till more tests are done. But Shehzad Poonawalla, there it is on the table, concerns as well as where the problem really lies. Maintenance, are we educating the users in terms of the maintenance issues? And number two, are the issues raised by Tessim?
So let me take it step by step. This policy has not come about just yesterday or under the Modi government. It is a bipartisan policy, in fact, stretching over 25 years. And why has this policy been implemented? So that it reduces our dependence on imported crude oil, it saves the environment, and it puts an additional income into the farmers' pockets, which I think some parties sitting here are opposed to. Now, having said that, one of the claims made by politicians who don't understand anything about two-wheelers and four-wheelers are that 75% of these vehicles are non-compliant and therefore their engines are going to be corroded. And there is no domain study, public study, that has shown that E20 is safe for these vehicles. I saw today one politician at 12 o'clock did a PC on that. I don't know if the politician has read a survey or a study done by Bavse and Thipse 2021 ARAI study. Now that study has tested E20 on 6 elastometers, rubber components, 4 plastic components, 8 metals, and has found that there is no significant damage. In fact, when you use E20, it has certain benefits for the engine. For instance, it is a cleaning agent. Also, it is a cooling agent. It absorbs more heat when the air and fuel mixture goes into the engine, so it's actually better for the engine. And it has a high octane number, therefore the engine has a better combustion rate, and therefore it produces less carbon deposits also, or carbon emissions also. But politicians don't know about this. Also, let me give you something more about that. Please, ma'am, it is a very technical, so I request you, don't give me arguments. Then they said that the OEMs were lying about it, and they said that the owner manuals don't contain it. Of course, at the time when the owner manual of that particular vehicle was given, at that particular time, E20 was in the testing phase. So obviously they gave their owner manual as per E10. But because we have advanced so quickly towards E20, and E10 to E20 did not happen suddenly. Every development was in the public domain. E11, E12, E13, 14, 15, 19, 20. Just 20, 30 seconds more. In fact, for the last 3.5 years, we have been using E15 plus petrol. In 20 lakh cars and 2 crore vehicles of motorbikes, please tell me how many have come damaged and parked, and they said that the vehicle has got finished. In the last 1 year, 2.5 crore vehicles were serviced by Maruti Suzuki, of which 1.5 crore were pre-2023, that is E10, E0. Out of that, none of them have reported engine corrosion or damage. And therefore, the last 20-30 seconds I'll take is that what is the point? Here is a farmers who are getting additional source of income, and about 1.6 lakh crore has gone into their pocket. 1.9 lakh crore of foreign exchange reserves have been saved because we diverted from crude oil into ethanol. Instead of appreciating this, today the most anti-farmer party is going to speak next. They want ethanol, but in a different blend. 1 पे 1 फ्री चाहिए उनको ये नहीं चाहिए जिससे मेरे देश के गेहूं के, मेरे देश के मेज के किसान, देश के शुगर केन के किसान, मेरे देश के राइस के किसान, और मैं अगर उनसे एक सवाल पूछूंगा वो जवाब नहीं दे पाएंगे।
Well, Shehzad, number one, I wanted to interrupt you only to say you keep say politicians don't understand. तुम क्या हो भाई? तुम पॉलिटिशियन नहीं हो।
मैं आपको बता रहा हूं कौन से पॉलिटिशियन,
सारा समझा रहे हो, बाकियों को समझ में नहीं आ रहा।
मैं पॉलिटिशियन हूं, पर एक दिन मैं डुग्गल साहब की तरह बन जाता हूं एक्सपर्ट, कि मैं आज एक्सपर्ट हूं गाड़ियों का, फिर एक दिन मैं बन जाता हूं इलेक्शन कमीशन और ईवीएम एक्सपर्ट, बोलते ईवीएम हैक हो सकते हैं, पेचकस से खुल जाते हैं।
I have done shows on EVMs as well as I'm doing this show. That doesn't mean
नाविका जी, मैं आपकी तो बात कर नहीं रहा। अब जैसे यहाँ पे मैं एक सवाल पूछता हूँ, यहाँ पे अभी जो हमारे बैठे साथी अनमोल पवार आम आदमी पार्टी से, अनमोल जी मुझे बताइए, अरविंद केजरीवाल बोल रहे कि एक्सपेरिमेंट किया जा रहा है हमारे साथ, इथेनॉल की जर्नी इंडिया में कब शुरू हुई, विच ईयर?
Anmol,
which year? Start with the year.
Navika ji, let me
let him respond.
Joe, let me make my points. Point number one, people spend their hard-earned money, years of saving to buy a vehicle. Today, when there are crores of motorcycles and four-wheelers which are E10 compliant, central government is forcing E20 on us. Vehicles are getting damaged, engines are getting damaged, mileage has reduced by more than 20 to 30%. There's widespread public opposition and false narratives are being pushed that E20 compliant hai aapke vehicles, vehicle kharab nahi honge. On July 6, the government directed the companies like Toyota, Hero MotoCorp, 6 companies were directed. Out of 3, they made a statement that their vehicles are compliant with E20. Although when you purchase a vehicle, you get a user manual which categorically states कि आपके vehicles E10 compliant हैं. Second point, अभी इन्होंने रेफर किया, अभी नहीं मैं एयर
to the point, engine Hormuz has settled that debate. Hormuz has said engines are not getting destroyed. So not the auto export is.
No, I'll place facts. I'll place facts on record.
Shehzad, 1 minute. 1 minute. He's on the engine point. It's an important.
Let me make my point. Give me 6
on
seconds.
The engine point, please listen to the expert.
BJP spokesperson lied. BJP spokesperson. Let me expose hypocrisy. Let me tell viewers how he's lying. He referred to AR-AI study. AR-AI study very categorically said, and I'll quote exactly because I've written verbatim, that point number 1, AR-AI study 2026 said using E20 vehicles designed only for E10 may deteriorate rubber hoses, seats, gaskets, and O-rings. Second point, they said some turbocharged engines may require additional evaluation. Third point, they said issue in BS6 turbocharged engine after 265 hours of durability. Point number 4, they said that thermomechanical failure of exhaust valve was observed in the engine tested cumulative for 800 hours. Secondly, their own government report, page number 19, clause 3.6, Niti Aayog report says that as per EBP rollout in the country, vehicle needs to be produced with rubberized parts, plastic components, and elastic compatible with E20 engines and optimally designed for use of E20 vehicles. Page number 14, clause 1.4 says that vehicles are required to come both material compatible and tuned for use of E20 vehicles. Page number 21, clause 3.8.3 says, just a minute.
We got the gist. We got the gist.
No, 10 seconds. That following changes in the production line will be necessary. Engines and components will need to be tested and calibrated with E20 as a fuel. ये इनकी सरकार के तथ्य हैं। अब ये बताएं कि इनकी सरकार झूठ बोल रही थी या इनके अटॉर्नी जनरल संसद में खड़े होकर झूठ बोल रहे थे। They are in experimentation stage.
Okay. Respond, Hormuz coming.
On the points he has said, I've written it down. I just hope he will not interrupt.
No, you speak.
Navika, पहले तो मैंने इनसे पूछा when did ethanol begin in India? He didn't have answer. Then he said damage होते हैं vehicles और mileage 20 to 30% कम होती है, which is not a fact, which even the auto expert will tell you. But then he said, I'm coming to his point. July 6 government companies were directed by the government of India to say that ethanol 20 does not affect the engines. Okay. Now I'm quoting to you, one of the companies there that he's referring to is Honda also. Honda's press note on its own, before even this conversation started. All Honda cars, Navika, please listen. All Honda cars manufactured in India since 1st Jan 2009 are E20 compatible. Okay, so if we forced Honda, before even this debate generated, Honda has given a report. So anyways,
should believe in
Navika, I
not
requested
believe
you,
in Niti
Navika,
report.
I requested you in this report of this
No,
debate.
he's coming
Now,
to that.
Navika, he said that there's 2026 ARAI study which has said 0.1, 0.2, 0.3. I quoted the ARAI study, Bhavse Tipse. I'm ready to give the PDF link right now. You can open it and see. The 2026 study which he so-called has quoted. Show him the official report of ARAI. Tell him to show it right now. Last 5 seconds I will take. That I want to, no, 1 second, Navika, very specifically, show that report right now in the next 5 seconds. And I just want to ask, 1 second, yes, I will show.
Because that is not been published.
No, 1 second. Niti Aayog ne ARAI. Navika, I told you I don't want to debate. Let's have a civilized debate. Navika,
Niti Aayog, you got caught.
Navika,
ARAI, you got caught. All right, 1 minute. 1 minute.
I am not interrupting his turn, Navika. It's my turn. Please, Navika.
No, your turn is also done. Anmol and Shehzad. Anmol and Shehzad, hold on. I am running this debate and I will run it. 1 minute. I will get it.
10 seconds.
I will.
Please, ma'am, it will be lost. Please, I request everyone speak ahead.
Hold on. When I say hold on, please hold on. I want to get the expert. I want to get the expert, Hormaz Sorabji. I want to ask you the two reports. This is the clash of the two reports. Please, can you throw light on the two reports? Number one, and number two, on the pointers and all the detractors of ethanol. Mileage drop. Please respond.
See, mileage drop, I don't think it's 20 to 30%, but it's much more than what the ARAI report says because we do real world testing. It's not a laboratory testing. Older cars can be more, depends on the car. Now, for example, Maruti with the new car, Marutis are masters of calibration. They really know how to squeeze fuel economy out. So when we tested their car, they were 4%. Others were 12%, 15%. So there is a drop, no doubt about that. But, I just want to put in perspective on the costs. Okay, we are making a lot of assumptions. Let's take even the worst case situation. Let me tell you that over a 10-year period, you will do more damage to your suspension tires and suspension joints than E20 would on an E10 car. Our roads are so terrible. One more point which I want to make on costs. When you went from BS4 to BS6, costs went up. Today, there's a lot of issues with DPFs, diesel particulate filters, clogging up and all. Again, that's really troubling the consumer because we went to a newer emission standard. So I think let's put the costs and issues into perspective. I'm not saying that, E20 over the time will not cost the consumer. But how much? How much of a pain is it? Let's look at everything else. Today, the cost of motoring has gone up, unfortunately. And the sad part is that the motorist is feeling the brunt of all these regulations. But that's just how it is. We are going towards cleaner technologies. They cost. Someone has to pay for it. Sometimes, the OEMs can subsidize. Sometimes it's passed on to the manufacturers. But I do not think that there's going to be some catastrophic cost to the consumer.
That puts it completely in perspective that you will have to pay wear and tear costs, motoring costs, wear and tear, suspension, tire costs. In any case, have you ever factored that
suspension
into?
Nothing to do with ethanol, by the way.
That's what I'm saying, but that is also something that comes. But nobody.
One fundamental point which I am saying is that we are in the E15 phase from 2018 onwards, right? For last 3.5-4 years, we are using this. 2.5 crore, 20 lakh cars and crores of motorbikes. He said all the cars are getting damaged. Why doesn't he show 10 examples? That's तो लाया होगा. 10 examples तो दिखा दो.
Okay,
10 तो दिखा दो.
दुग्गल सब बने अभी
आपका नेता वो दारू वाला नेता बना है. आपका दारू वाला बना है. आपका दारू वाला ना है. शराबी वाला है. नीति आयोग कुछ बोल रहा है. महाभ्रष्टाचार का बताने मंदिर में डकैती डाल दी वो डकैत बताएंगे. वो डकैत बताएंगे.
1 minute. Anmol Pawar. This is not.
करिए डकैती तुमने.
Anmol.
कैसे
Anmol Pawar and Shehzad. This is not Jantar Mantar. Please. This is a national debate, and I please want some norms and courtesies to exist here. So said. There is a lot of fear that has been fueled by some amount of genuine worry some amount of genuine worry on costs, and some amount of misinformation. Where do you stand on this entire controversy? Is it the perspective that is lacking in this debate, or everybody has found yet another, debate or political controversy just to fuel their own political careers? How do you look at it?
So, as a marketing person, I'll tell you, when you have the Poonawala brothers, both are very good speakers, eloquent to the core. इनकी आप एक separate debate कराओ. नहीं तो हम लोग की तो बारी नहीं आती है. We are just bloody waiting for बाबूजी का ठुल्लू to appear. कुछ होता ही नहीं है.
आप प्योर पेट्रोल पे चल रहे हैं ना?
Number one.
बाकी लोग ethanol-blended पे चल रहे हैं.
Poonawala has made the most damaging comment today by saying beta badhao. That is a total indictment of Mr. Gandhi. I don't think you should have used that phrase beta badhao because people will interpret it as Rahul Gandhi ka promotion. Third, you have the president of the YAP Association in the form of Hormuz Sarabji. No one knows more because he's the president of the YAP Association, which has done enormous work in the area of automobile design and testing. All the others are modules. They have no clue. Now, Mr. Pawar, who's an advocate, short of reading the Constitution of India, has told us everything about automobiles. भाई आपके अरविंद केजरीवाल ने तो कितने यहाँ गुल खिलाए हैं. He has become a plumber, electrician, interior designer.
अयोध्या में देख रहे हो क्या गुल खिला रही है भाजपा?
मैं तो वही बोल रहा हूँ.
अयोध्या में देख रहे हो ना क्या गुल खिला रही है भाजपा?
Listen, Anmol, before you were born, I was debating, so don't interrupt me. You do your own piece when your time comes. I only want to make 3 points. Number one, I'm a consumer. I need to know the facts from the government. Yes. I only trust the automobile manufacturers, and I want it in my warranty. I want it as a communication from the automobile company who I buy my car from to me, saying the pros and the cons of ethanol. Number two, someone, I think Hormuz said it, it's very right. One person or the other in this country has to pay the price for a better ecology and a better environment in our country. Who will pay it? The citizens. Again, the government should explain. The problem is the government may be doing the right thing, but it has very, very poor communication except for 2 or 3 ministers. That communication, to my mind, now needs to be translated. Number 3, this Navika is a serious point. The government and the oil companies may have their best and noble intentions. Do you not believe that there will be some spuriosity in the fuel? We have seen that with petrol over the years. There are petrol pumps which are dangerously spurious in terms of their supply. My advice would be, this is the time for the government to set up a task force which gets into the purification or the purity of the products that are available at petrol pumps. It is not about the cost, it is about the inconvenience as well. Please understand, Navika, unlike you all have one car. Ek gaadi dhap ho jaye, we can't go anywhere. So, people with one car, it doesn't impact.
I use public transport, Suhail, please.
But if Tehseen and, Shehzad and all, they come into the Times Now studio in separate cars. We have one car. If that goes up, we
have separate cars and separate political parties and separate ideologies in that order.
But I'll tell you one thing. God bless both of them. One day they will come together because one party will merge with the other or someone will be bought out. That is for another debate. My advice is communication, ownership must be defined by the OEMs, in this case the automobile manufacturers, and data. Shehzad gave data. Okay, of the number of cars that were produced last year or the number of cars that were sold last year, this was the complaint, factor. People are always going to speculate if the opposition...
Absolutely, data is important and there I come to the question to Tushar Gupta joining the show. Tushar, I want to ask you, has the government been transparent enough? That is one question that is being raised. Should the government have more quality control issues? Because frankly, yes, adulterated petrol and adulterated diesel is a problem that exists. When you have 20% ethanol, then the quality question will come in, and Hormuz also talked about it, that there will be water content issues, etc., etc. So My point is, as what Suhail says, as a consumer, you need to satisfy some of these questions. Half the consumers don't even know that what is going into their tank is the blended petrol. They think it is pure petrol. There is no information on petrol pumps that is displayed enough, and that is a consumer right. Are we doing enough to address that issue? I'm not worried about the wars of narratives that is going on. I'm worried about the rights of the consumer. Are they being protected?
Good evening, Navika. Look, the rights of the consumer were always there. Ethanol blending is not a surprise. Somehow in this entire debate that has been going on for the last couple of weeks, everyone is pretending as if E20 was born yesterday and we have to outrage right now. The testing has been on before E20, E18, E15, E12, E10, everything has been going on. But the people who are opposing them think that we made a jump from E10 to E20 and our cars are not ready. नेताओं का प्रॉब्लम पता क्या होता है? उनको भाषा समझ आती है सीटों की, कि अगर हमारी 4 सीटें आई है तो पार्लियामेंट में 4 ही लोग बैठेंगे. Automobile manufacturers do not work like that. They have a headroom. If they've prepared their car for E10, it has room for E20. Talk to any automobile manufacturer. They are not making cut-to-cut models because the requirements of one model in one country may not suffice the requirements of regulations in another country. तो ये जो पूरा डिबेट हो रहा है कि 2 हफ्ते पहले E20 आया, E20 2 साल से आपकी गाड़ी में चला है, पर देखिए 2 साल से जिनको माइलेज की बात भी नहीं करनी थी, आज 2 हफ्ते उनकी गाड़ी भी खराब हो गई, उनके कंपोनेंट भी खराब हो गए, उनकी माइलेज भी खराब हो गई.
Well, there is only one point that I will say here. There is only one point that I will say here, which is that why can't it runs both ways? Why can't you display that there is E20? Say it up front, and if somebody wants an pure petrol, they should be having the option of getting it. What is the problem?
Just 1 second, please.
I don't want ethanol-blended fuel for some of my cars. I have the option. Who are you to force ethanol?
Yeah,
there are just
yes, that is one objection.
Just 2 quick points. Tushar, please, just 2 quick points. I would like options, as Sohail said, which is fundamental. Number 2, whatever the BJP is saying or the government is saying or Deepji saying, why is it not in public domain transparently? Why is it trust us? We don't want to trust you. We want one more thing. Please understand, unlike what the Aam Aadmi Party said, cars are not going to break down, and Sohail and Shehzad are right on that. They won't break down suddenly. But there will be a damage or could be a damage. Even a gasket of 15,000-20,000 is expensive to people.
Okay, let me address
this. It is not acceptable.
Shehzad is addressing.
First of all, today Hardeep ji made the statement how from E15 onwards we have been doing this for the last 3.5 years, and some people said that why didn't you tell us? Suddenly humko kya? Did you hide this from us? There's a press release and news reports every day when we are achieving new targets. In fact, every time we go a level up, we also say how much foreign exchange we save because we are now importing less crude oil. Literally, it's on PIB that how we've gone from E10 to E15 to E19 to E20, and we have been celebrating it. The Prime Minister says it in every speech. कि आज E18 हो गया है, आज E19 हो गया, अब E20 पे चले गए. I mean, what else can we say? Point number 1. So we've hidden nothing. I quoted an ARAI study. I've hidden nothing. The OEMs, what Sohail said.
On the Niti Aayog study.
I'm coming to that also. 5 seconds. First Sohail's point, then on this
I'm very short of time.
No, but Sohail's point is more important. On OEM, it is the OEM. The car manufacturers are not babes in the wood who are at our mercy. They are part of testing, validation, policy making, and only when they give go ahead does the policy go ahead. And therefore, they have been very much a part. And therefore, Honda, even before this entire conversation, 2009 onwards, our vehicles are E20 compliant. Now coming to Niti Aayog, taking one piece, I asked him when did ethanol journey start. He knew no. चलो I'll ask him same thing. Ethanol सबसे ज़्यादा भारत में किससे बनता है?
10 seconds.
Ethanol भारत में सबसे ज़्यादा किससे बनता है?
On 10 नीति आयोग को तो एक शब्द बोले नहीं. नीति आयोग को तो एक शब्द बोले नहीं. I refer to specific clause.
झूठ बोलते हो.
You are relying on नीति आयोग.
ये झूठे हैं.
सरकार है तुम्हारी.
मैं आपको बताऊं. चांदनी चौक पे खड्डा है.
नीति आयोग नीति आयोग को
सौरभ भारद्वाज का ट्वीट है. चांदनी चौक पे खड्डा है.
नीति आयोग पर चुप सरकार जो कही उस पर
we did a short survey. We did a dipstick survey. You lost your 10 seconds. You have called them the Honda Sarkar.
He was silent on Niti Aayog.
क्योंकि आप
we did We did a dipstick survey, E20 or normal petrol. Should consumers get a choice? Yes, say 85% of the people. No, say 10%. Can't say 4%. Well, while there is a need to understand that E20 is not breaking down our vehicles as it is being told to us by certain groups, the fact is consumers want a choice. E20 or 100%, price it accordingly, give the choice to the consumer. That's what people feel. We leave it at that. This entire issue is not a political issue. It is supposed to be a technical issue, and if you're talking about ethanol, please talk about suspensions, tires and everything else. Everything adds to the cost. But quality of fuel that we get, as well as the display of what kind of fuel is going into our cars, are two things that consumers want. Can we get that? Should that end the debate? We'll leave that to you, the viewer, to decide.